Welcome to the channel. I'm Mia Viva, and I am the coach to help you after hitting rock bottom back on your redemption journey, back to God and into leadership. Okay. Today, this one is exciting. Backstory, 5 years ago, I did something called Landmark. Okay. And they talk about this concept in Landmark, but they don't ever give you a visual. There's no visual to be able to attach to see it in your mind. I'm a visual learner. So I got the concept. I was able to grasp the theory, but not until being in Myron Golden's challenge was there made a visual to what they had been teaching and to what I had known for the past 5 years, right? So today, first, I want to say the skeleton to this, the visual, is from Myron Golden. I want to say that hands down. I don't want anybody coming for me, talking about you stole his stuff. I didn't steal his stuff. I'm putting, as he said, meat on the bones. He created and provided the skeleton. I'm putting the meat on the bones. So I want to get that clear right now. I'm giving context so that people can see themselves and see how this relates to them in their individual lives, because it affects all of us. Okay. So that is what I'm doing here today. So I want to start by saying, there are events that happen to in every person's life, right? So as a child, there's events that happen to us as children, and there's events that happens to us as adults, okay? So keep that in mind. But when I'm speaking right now from in childhood, okay? So that could be being raised in a one-parent home. That could be your parents were together, but then they divorced in childhood while you were a child. That could include loss of life of someone. That can include any type of abuse, mental, physical, emotional abuse to you as a child. It can include a move. I remember I had to move, and I was really sad because I was leaving my friends, and I wasn't sure that I was going to make new friends in the new place. So you have to look at this from the eyes of a 5 and 6-year-old. Like, it resonates very differently in the mind of someone that young. Okay. So think of this from the perspective of you as a child. It can include health. If you go to the doctor and you find out that you or somebody else that's very close to you, a caregiver, a grandparent, a sibling, has something negative going on with their health, that's going to affect you because you don't want anything bad to happen to anyone you love. And this is also something that I find siblings, especially older siblings, your life can change drastically when a new birth has taken place and your whole life changes. Like, it's no longer all about you. You have to share, you may have to help raise. Like, those are the type of events that are life-changing, especially for a child, right? Now, when you move into adulthood, you also have those same type of experiences, but now you're adding, divorce. You're adding a lost job, or any type of sudden occurrence. And it's important to note that you have the things that happened to you as a child, they haven't gone anywhere, right? That is still a part of your experience. And unless you have truly, truly dealt with it on a very deep level, it's still there. All right, keep that in mind. So when you have these adult type of experiences, it compacts. So it's not like this went away and now this happened. No, this is the childhood, this is the adulthood, and now they're all together. Okay, so keep that in mind. And for a visual, you have an event. Now, to talk about that, there is the law of polarity. Okay. The law of polarity says that anything that is positive has a negative, anything that's negative has a positive. So if something happens to you in your life and it comes across as a very negative event, there is a positive aspect to it. If something comes across as positive, there's a negative aspect to it. If you get a new job with a new promotion with new money and more money, more benefits, everything's great. Well, the negative of that is that you have less time for your family and yourself. Right? So everything has a trade-off, everything has a balance. That's the law of polarity. So every event that has occurred to you, whether it's in childhood or adulthood, there is a law of polarity there that has taken place, okay, in everything. Now, we move into, from the event, something is created, and that is what is called the story. For a visual, we have the event in the box, and then you have the story. So from the event, you have the story that's created, and it's drawn in the arrow. For many people, for many children, when an event happens in your life, you create a story as a way to protect yourself. It is not created just because. It's created because something in you has been triggered as a danger, as not being good, as I don't know what's going on. I don't have enough context. So I have to create this story to protect myself or to make it make sense. In my case, mine was to protect myself. In a lot of people's cases, it's to make this event make sense. So a lot of the stories that we tell, I'm not good enough, I'm defective, I'm not worthy, I'm not important, I'm not lovable, I'm helpless, I don't belong, I'm not safe, I shouldn't try. And my big one was, I can't make a mistake. Because for me, making a mistake meant that a phone call could be made and I could come get picked up and be taken to foster care. So for me, that was a very big reality of my childhood. It just was what it was. And so I created that story of not making a mistake because that was my response to keep myself safe. If I don't make a mistake, then nobody will get mad and then I won't get sent away. If I make a mistake, then somebody might respond and be triggered and be mad and they can call and send me away. And that was a story that I created for myself at 5, 6, 7 years old, because to me at the time, that was the trigger. The mistake would be the trigger of something very detrimental, right? And so when I say these stories were created by 5, 6, 7-year-olds, it's important to keep that in the forefront of your head because they don't have enough lived experience. You didn't have enough lived experience. You didn't have enough context. You didn't, you know what I mean? You're functioning off of what makes sense to you at that time. So it's nothing to feel guilty about. It's nothing to look down on yourself about. It's just something that we do. And so from the story, the arrow of the story that was created is pointing to the brain, because this is where belief lives. Belief is cemented in your head, okay? And the story impacts the belief. Now, going back to the law of polarity, you have the positive and you have the negative, okay? You have optimism, you have pessimism. If you're going to choose the positive way of seeing things, you're going to be positive, you're going to have optimism, and you're going to have faith. If you take the opposite, you're going to be pessimistic and you're going to have doubt, right? So how does optimism and faith show up? It shows up in the belief that I can, I do, I can get, I can have, I can be, I can know. These are all the positive sides of it. And if it resonates and is registered as the negative aspect of it, it registers in I can't do, I can't be, I can't get, I can't have. That doesn't happen for people like me. That can't happen to me, right? So it is this belief that has registered and cemented itself in your psyche as a result to the story you told yourself. So you have the event, you have the story, and then now you have the belief, okay? Now, this is when it graduates into the law of vibration. And a lot of people have heard, remember when The Secret came out, it was this big old thing like, oh my gosh, law of attraction, give me. The law of vibration, the law of attraction is actually a sub thing to law of vibration to me. So you first have to have the law of vibration. And when you hear high vibes, low vibes, you know, that's what you're talking about. How are you vibrating? Because however you're vibrating is what you're going to receive. We don't get what we say we want, we get what we are. And that goes into the way of being, shifting your way of being. Who are you, right? So from the belief in the head, it then moves into the heart space. And the heart space is all about emotions and feelings. That's what you're vibrating. You're vibrating those emotions. How do those emotions manifest based on your belief? They manifest in excitement or anxiety. If I have subscribed to the positive aspects of seeing something, I'm going to be hyped. I'm going to be excited about it. If I've subscribed to the doubt of a situation, well, I'm going to have anxiety because I'm not going to think that it's going to manifest. And that's going to register here in my heart. It's a feeling, it's an emotion, and it registers as energy, right? And so this one, when he broke it down to this final part, it was mind-blowing. It truly was. Because you've moved from the event to the story to the belief to the heart space. What happens after the heart space? It then moves into your hand, and he calls it function. It is the function from your hand. By the way, he got all of this from Romans 6:17 in the Bible. Okay. So I just want to point that out. Okay. But it moves into your hands, the function, the doing or the don't doing, right? If I'm hype about something and I believe it's going to come to fruition, it's going to manifest, I'm excited about it, then I'm going to act. It's the law of action. I'm going to act. I'm going to do. I'm going to use my hands to do. If I don't believe this is going to come true, if I say I want it, but I don't really, low key, I don't feel like this is going, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to go forward. I'm not going to keep pushing and going and getting the momentum and the action and the verb that's needed to make the thing happen. Because up here, I'm blocked, I'm stuck, and I'm blocking my own blessings. So when you see somebody who's struggling with procrastination, that's a symptom of belief, not of just not doing. It started up here. It didn't start with just not acting. When you hear somebody have every excuse in the book, their excuses are a symptom of them not believing it's going to happen. Why would I work on something that I just truly deep down inside, I know this is not going to work. I know it's not going to work. So I'm not going to put my energy towards it, even though I say I want it. I want it. Yeah, it would be nice to have that. It would be nice. But truly, I don't believe that it can happen for me. That happens for them. That doesn't happen for me. And so people get into this song and dance of self-sabotage, and they make up these excuses. And it also registers in some people where they do more than for other people than themselves. So they didn't get blocked in the function. They did not get blocked in the function. The blockage is in the story. Because somewhere along the lines, guaranteed, they don't feel worthy of their own exertion, their own movement for themselves. They'll do it. They'll do it for you, but they won't do it for themselves because the worthiness is not enough for them to put that action towards benefiting themselves. So it's a flow. It's a flow. It is a song and dance. It is an orchestra. And the most important part of this to me is the belief, but the part that must be dissolved is the story. And much of the time people don't do that. That requires a very high level of willingness to revisit a time and a place where something happened that was so traumatic that you had to create a story in order to protect yourself, right? And the story was created so you don't have to deal with it anymore. Or bottom line, you just don't want to relive something that hurt that much. You really don't. You just don't want to do it. And it takes a lot of courage to go back to the story. It takes getting to a point where you just can no longer suffer. You can't suffer anymore. It's too painful. It's shown up in your money. It's shown up in your relationships. It's shown up in your parenting. It's shown up in every aspect of your life. It keeps showing up and you're tired of reliving it. So it takes a great deal of pressure, but also courage to go back to those stories. And 9 times out of 10, there's more than one story that was created, guaranteed. Like I discovered my mistake story, but I know there's more. You're talking about a life, right? And you're talking about a child who experienced different events, not on their own accord. And this is day after day after day after day of living. Yes, there's going to be multiple stories created. So it's the belief, but it's also the story. And it's a lot of courage. Okay. So the laws, the universal laws, the divine laws, they're always at play. And I don't think they get highlighted enough when we speak about deep healing. I don't think they get highlighted enough when we speak about us being human beings. You know, we tend to gravitate to the foo-foo la-la, right? But what really is the mainstay and has touched every single generation that has existed are the laws. The laws are the laws. They don't change because you don't feel like they're right. They don't change because they don't change for you. They don't change for you. So the wise thing is to learn them and see how they have manifested in your life so that you can work with them to have them help you in your future life. Okay. And when I hear people speak and they say, you know, I tried this, I got this coach, I got this therapist, I did all these things, I've done the self-work, I got all these books, I've done all these practices, I've gone on these retreats. I mean, it's endless things for you to do that all of these methods are trying to help you heal. But until you deal with those stories, you're doing it backwards. And so that's why the business coach couldn't help you. The therapist didn't change your life. The pastor couldn't pray away the problems. The homies couldn't change you. The sex didn't numb the pain. And the work doesn't make you feel worthy or fulfilled. Those are all external things and external people who have their own stories that they need to deal with. And they, as much as good intention that they want, until they get deep down in you, nothing's going to shift. Nothing's going to shift. And that's the realization that people have. I remember Landmark. I have a video here. It's got a lot of views. I've had people come up to me in the street. Like, did you do a video on Landmark? Like, legit. So it has reached a lot of people, but the reason why people feel so good coming out of Landmark is because you actually do touch on the stories. The first step is even realizing that this exists. Like, it's even realizing that this exists. And the fact that Myron has received this from a Bible verse, it didn't go through the program, because in the program, they tell you that, you know, there's a story in your head that you created. But until you realize that there's a story in your head that you created, you're going in circles. You're going in circles of pain, self-sabotage, frustration, stuckness, right? And it's not until you realize that there's a story, and then now you, with this visual, able to see how it flows and how it manifests and how it controls your life. This is how the stories that you created about something controls your life. And what you created, it was something external to you. And how he explains this, I explained it as a fact, as an event, but he explains it as a fact, which when you think about facts, there is no emotion in a fact. A fact doesn't hold emotion. A fact is a fact. We project onto whatever takes place an emotion, which speaks to the negative or positive of it. So whatever we project onto that fact speaks to which side we subscribe to. So all you ever need to know of where a person is how they respond to something that takes place. And we all get into situations where, you know, we don't willingly want to choose a negative outlook of something. And that is the battle of light and dark. That is the battle of, you know, higher and lower. Which goes back to polarity. It's all so related and it's so multi-leveled. But where I am right now is wanting to share this with people because it's the story that has to be dealt with first. It's the story. And with that being said, realizing this, I now can see outside in all of the conversations that I've had with new entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, mompreneurs, right? Of lacking so much clarity. I want to do this, I wanted to do it, but I'm stuck. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to move. And there's something that has to be dealt with, as well as having the clarity of how to walk on the path afterwards. What content do you create? Where are the blind spots? Where are the blind spots? These stories, a lot of the blind spots are grounded in these stories. So I have created something that's called a 2-hour power call. And it's for new entrepreneurs, but it can be existing entrepreneurs, solopreneurs who want to look into some of these blind spots, want to look into content, want to get practice of recording their videos, because that's been a big one around a lot of entrepreneurs that I'm surrounded with, this new world of where we have to talk into a camera. And so getting practice for that, getting tips for that. Your spiritual gifts, how do they merge into your purpose? How do they merge into your business? You know, so I've created a 2-hour power for people who they just want to get in and out. Like they want some clarity, they want some direction, they want the missing piece to all the work that they've been working on. I've created that. There's also Woman Redeemed, which is the 6-week group coaching program, 5 spots in there, starts March 5th. Or some people prefer one-on-one coaching. It just is what it is. They like the one-on-one engagement. They like all the focus on them. They like to take their time. And so I also have that. And how that works is that you will schedule a clarity call. And the purpose of that clarity call is so that I can see what you need and what you're looking for. It's not for me to talk. It's for you to share with me what you need, what you're looking for from a coach, and how I can serve you. Okay, so those are my offerings. If you're interested, all the links are down below. But I hope that this video did help you. I hope that it helped you to gain some clarity and some insight into how to be better and how to be the best version of yourself. We're all on a journey. Nobody's perfect, okay? But the more that we can help each other ascend, then the better the world will be. As cheesy as that may sound. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.